pour your life out for nothing. You pull my card, I'm bluffing. You know what's in my hand. Me, I just roll and trust you. You cause the dice to land. I'm in control of nothing. Follow you at any cost. And some call it sovereign will. All I know is you the boss. And man, I'm so at ease. I'm so content. I play the background like it's an instrument. I could play the background. I could play the background. Cause I know sometimes I get in the way. So won't you take the lead? So won't you take the lead? And I could play the background. And you could take the I know I'm safest when I'm in your will and trust your word. And I know I'm dangerous when I trust myself, my vision blurred. And I ain't got no time to play life's foolish games. Got plenty aims, but do they really glorify your name? And it's a shame the way I wanna do these things for you. Yeah, don't even cling to you. Take time to sit and glean from you. And it seems that you are patient in my ignorance. If ignorance is bliss, it's cause she never heard of this. I could play the background. I could play the background. Cause I know sometimes I get in the way. So won't you take the lead? So won't you take the lead? And I could play the background. And you could take the I could play the background. I could play the background. Cause I know sometimes I get in the way. So won't you take the lead? So won't you take the lead? And I could play the background. And you could take the
Is he faithful? Is he faithful? Psalms 100 says that we should make a joyful noise unto the Lord. All ye lands, serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. So we should enter his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him and bless his name. For the Lord is good. His mercy is everlasting. And his truth endures to all generations. Now come on, somebody, put your hands together and give God a praise. Is there anybody thankful in here tonight? Do you have something to be thankful for? Put your hands together like this. This is a song of thanks. Listen. I just want to take this time to tell you that I appreciate you for your love and your mercy. You covered me and all the things I went through. I remember when I was a mess, but God, you cleaned me up. Yes, you did. You filled my cup until it overflowed. I just want to tell you that just want to thank you, Lord. Do you have anything to be thankful for tonight? Everybody say, just want to thank you, Lord. Listen, you wrapped yourself in flesh, came down from heaven to fulfill your destiny. You showed much love when you gave your life. It was the ultimate sacrifice. You rescued me when you died on Calvary. Yes, you did. From a burning hell on a cross that was not your own. And I gotta tell you now that just wanna thank you, Lord. Just Has anybody been in any trouble? And then you made me free. Whom the Son makes free is free indeed. Can I get a witness in here on tonight? And then you changed my name. I used to be a liar, fornicator. But guess what? He erased that. And now I'm not the same. I'm not the same. I'm not the same. Yeah! And I gotta tell you now that I gotta give the thanks from the bottom of my heart. Oh, yes, I'm grateful. Just wanna thank you, Lord. Come on, let's take it up. Oh, I thank you, Lord. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you, Lord. You've been so good. You've been so kind. You've been a true friend, a friend of mine. It could have been me outdoors with no food and no clothes. Could have been left alone. 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 But I thank you, Lord. I thank you, Lord. I thank you, Lord. I thank you, Lord. Has he been good to you? 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 Somebody say thank you. Just tell him thank you. Give your hands and say thank you. Say thank you. Say thank you. Say thank you. Tell him thank you. Everybody say it now. Just wanna thank you, Lord. Oh. If you're thankful, why don't you put your hands together and give God a hand clap of thanks. If we want to enter the gates, we must enter with thanksgiving. Before we can get to the courts, we must be thankful. Somebody just say thank you. Just tell them thank you. Thank you for the activity of my limbs. Thank you for life, health, and strength. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Zacardi, tell your story.
So many wonder how I survived. I can't say it was easy, but I'm still alive. God never left me. He stayed by my side. And I am so grateful He kept me. Oh,
God held me together, made sure that I didn't lose my mind.
no, not this time.
Not this time.
Through all of my struggles
Through all my struggles,
and
disappointments too, you were there.
you were right there. Listen, I can't even tell you.
You're invited to a drop-in event. Please join Sheriff David Davis as he kicks off his 2024 re-election campaign, happening on Thursday, February 1st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Marriott Ballroom in the Macon Marriott City Center, located at 240 Coliseum Drive. There will be free campaign promotional items, free food and music, and sign up for yard sign delivery. Together, stronger, every street. Paid for by the campaign to re-elect Sheriff David Davis.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett, Westbrook, and Mr. Dumas.
And good evening and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host, and we also have President Westbrooks with us today. We're looking forward to a great show. I hope you had a great weekend. Of course, we celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday on last week, and hope you got an opportunity to participate in the march and to come down with the other activities at Stewart Chapel Church. We had a great turnout. It was wonderful weather, and it was really a good turnout. And so we hope you were a part of it, as we were. And the NAACP, we also went down and fed the homeless. And
yes, it was a great turnout.
It was a really good turnout.
Yes, I was so glad that they came.
Absolutely. And they were so appreciative of the fact that we were providing them with a meal.
Yes, they were.
And you know, when you do things like that in the community, it just gives you a sense of pride that you're doing something that's really worthwhile. We saw other organizations that pulled up and also dropped off various things. We also gave out blankets that same day as well.
We had, because we gave out blankets.
Previous to that,
the week of Christmas, we gave out blankets, so we still had some left. So we still, because like I say, you never know when, like I say, people are becoming homeless every day. So it could have been somebody that we missed and didn't get a chance to give blankets out to.
Absolutely. So the weather was conducive to being out in the community. It wasn't too cold.
Oh, it was nice.
It was really nice.
I thought it was gonna be
freezing
because it had been cold.
Right.
And so I had on so many clothes, Mr. Dumas. I was like,
really, we were overdressed.
We were overdressed. I had this big old hoodie on, jacket on, and then I had layers of clothes up under that, and I was like, and I walked. I thought I was gonna have to catch a ride, going down there.
I actually walked I probably did more walking that day than I've done all year.
Yeah, me too.
Because even where we were located, I actually walked from Stewart Chapel Church down across MLK and down in that area near Daybreak, and got some good exercise.
Yeah, we marched from Memorial Gym, so we was like on an incline. We had to
go up that hill.
Several hills, and I called it. I was like, I think I started running when we did that. So.
But it's interesting. A lot of the elderly people participated in the march, and they kept up. And some of the younger kids, I think they probably complained more than the older people because.
And I want to thank the Corvette Club.
Right.
They was teasing us when we got there. I said, "Oh yeah, South Macon brought the Corvette Club, brought y'all in, and I'll wait till next year." So we want to thank the Corvette Club for participating along with us of South Macon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had an awesome time, and like I say, we talk about it. Dr. King, we don't want you to just think about him in January, but all through the year. Next month, we're gonna be having Black History, so you'll be seeing a lot of him on various things next month also. So
absolutely, I understand that Mr. Gilliam is on the line, so
he is okay.
That's our special guest for today, and he's here with the Bibb County Board of Elections. Can you hear us, sir?
Loud and clear, yes, sir.
Absolutely. We welcome you to the show today.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the invite itself. Thank you.
Can you see him, Mr. Jones? I can't see him.
Well, he's calling in on the line.
Okay.
I think we may.
That's why I just wanted to do the link.
Yeah, I hear a little background noise, so I don't know if he's actually able to hear us.
I can, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. I did send you the link also, if you, just in case you had problems with your phone.
Oh, me see. Is it for Zoom?
Yes, it's a link to the WDDO Glory. It would have came from Prosser.gw.
I don't see it offhand.
Yeah, I sent it about maybe 10 minutes ago.
Oh, wait. Here we go. This may be it. Yep, it's coming through.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Here I am.
Okay, let's see if he's showing up through our program here. We can put a face to the voice. So, okay, there you go.
There I am. Awesome.
Wonderful. Yes, you can hang up the phone so we should be connected there. Well, we know this is an election year, and there are a lot of things going on, and I guess in preparation for you guys are preparing for this election. That it'll be a good and fair election, since we've had, that's been the thing throughout the year, throughout the years, making it a fair election for all, and certainly I'm sure you guys have been working diligently to make certain that everything goes smoothly.
That is absolutely our goal. We want to have fair, impartial elections with high turnout.
Absolutely.
We hope so. We hope so. We're pushing for that. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Gideon, and what position you hold?
Sure. I'm currently the election supervisor for the Macon-Bibb County Board of Elections. I answer to the 5-person board. The two parties nominate each 2 members, and then they pick a 5th member. And so they make all the big decisions, and then I run the office itself. I've been in here full-time since 2013 and was promoted to election supervisor at the beginning of 2022 when GWENETTE Watson retired.
Okay. Yeah, so we want to again thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the show. Mr. Dumas, I think you had some questions you probably wanted to answer.
Yes, I have a few questions that we wanted to get in. One of them being, do we have a schedule with the upcoming elections for 2024?
Yes, sir. The first one coming up is going to be the presidential preference primary. That's going to be on March the 12th.
Okay.
And as I'm sure everyone knows, that's where the 2 parties pick the candidates that will be on the ballot in November. Following that, on May the 21st, is the general election for most of the local races, like mayor, county commission, water authority, school board seats, some of the judges. It's also the primary election for the partisan seats, like Congress, state legislature, the tax commissioner, sheriff, and so forth. Should there need to be a runoff from that is going to be on June the 18th. And then finally, we'll have the November 5th election, which is for president and Congress, or House anyway, and the partisan county races.
Okay. Now, how about the absentee ballots? Are they ready to roll out?
They will be starting on those February the 12th for the presidential preference primary. The ones being sent overseas, they'll go out a little bit sooner.
Okay. Let's see. What's another one we have here? Another question is all the new signage up so voters know where to go?
Inside the mall, we have a sign up. The easiest way to find us is to look underneath Burlington Coat Factory. They're on the second. They're on the upper floor. We're directly below them. So if you walk into the mall on the Mercer University side, say where the military recruiting offices are, you walk past them, take a right, and there's a nice new hallway where Sears used to be. And we're back on the left-hand side in a bright, shiny new office.
Is there any signage on the outside, for example, like on a billboard or anything, so people will know that the Board of Election is actually there?
Not as yet. We're working towards that. If nothing else, if we can put either just a banner at the front, the closest entrance, we may end up doing that. But there are several offices coming into the mall aside from us. We're getting the planning and zoning. We're getting the regional commission. We're getting a new branch of the library. And so I would suspect that once all the offices are in, we're going to have probably one sign that's going to advertise all of that. But in the meantime, we'll come up with something to let people know where to find us.
Right, because that was a concern, because that people actually knew where to come, since it was nothing outside to let the people know that the Board of Elections is actually in the mall.
Has there been any type of advertisements, whether in the news or social media, indicating that the relocating of the Board of Elections, so that those who sometimes don't stay as in tune as others would still know what location you guys are at?
I believe we had a mailer go out in the summer once we got moved in, but that was back in the summer, and so it may have gotten overlooked or lost or ignored. But we're gonna make sure everybody knows exactly where to find us. We don't want there to be any issues about that, and we still have the other two early voting locations that we have in the past. We have the Theron Usry Rec Center on Wimbish, and we had the Elaine Lucas Senior Center down at Carolyn Creighton Central City Park. And so those will be available for March and May elections. They may actually be a little bit easier to get into as far as the distance from the parking lot, whereas our office is a little more of a walk, and we're working on workarounds for that as well here. So.
Yeah, I know we did a walkthrough a while. I think it was last year we did a walkthrough, because that was our first time. It was myself, Commissioner Lucas, and few other people from our office, and we were looking at our first time being there. So since you all had opened the office, and that was some of the things I know, that just what you had just said about the distance, and that's what we were looking. I think they were saying they would maybe have some carts or something, or they would open up another door or something where people would it wouldn't be such a long distance to walk to get actually to the Board of Election.
Right. For the upcoming March election, we're going to have voting for the elderly and the handicapped, probably in the hallway, a little closer to the entrance, not too much closer, but we're working on that. And we have plans in development for something a little better than that for the May election.
Okay.
And I know she mentioned a little bit about golf carts as far as accessibility, because I know our seniors, a lot of times, when it comes to walking, becomes an issue. And so some of those will be provided.
That was talked about, and it might be possible to do something outside the mall, but having carts inside the mall, we've discovered may be more of an issue than we originally had thought. So we're not opposed to considering any idea, but that one might not be as practical as we originally had hoped.
Gotcha.
But you will have something where they may be able to vote closer?
A little closer, yes, ma'am. And that's for the March election. And then May, I have thoughts and plans that maybe we'll improve on it even more.
I know also seating. Will they have seating for individuals that come in?
Yes, we have extra benches out in the hallway that we didn't have when we first opened, and hopefully we'll get some more benches so that people want to take a break and have a seat before they continue on to vote. That will be an option for them. We're working with the mall to improve that.
I do know because I want people to kind of be educated while we're talking here today. Because a lot of times we have during voter registration we have poll uh, monitors, and I know they have to be so many feet away from the board of elections. So does that start at the front door of the mall? Where does that count start?
The official poll watchers from each party and unofficial poll monitors, just citizens who want to come in and watch, they can actually come into the lobby. They can't get right there at the machines to see how anybody's vote. We don't do that ourselves, but we'll make areas available so that anyone who wants to watch the proceedings is more than welcome, as long as we have space for them.
But they have to be 100 and help me, Maria. I see Maria Bryan is on the phone. There's a difference between poll monitors and poll watchers.
Right. The 150-foot limit is for anyone who wants to campaign. That is 150 feet from the building where the voting takes place, according to Georgia law, which really is the mall itself. So anyone can campaign outside the mall within 150 feet of the building. Inside that 150-foot radius, campaigning shouldn't be taking place.
Okay, and I see. Thank you, Patrick Davis. He's always putting the websites up here and giving us the information where we can find different things that topics we're talking about. Maria Bryant just typed up and she said it's 150 feet. But I know when we come, we have to be so many feet away from the polling location.
Right.
150 feet.
Right, and that's just for campaigning. Anyone who wants to be a poll watcher or a poll monitor, they can come into the building. They can come into our office, and we'll have places set aside for them to sit or stand and watch during early voting.
So can you tell, so people will know how can they go about doing that to be a poll, or if they want to do that?
Well, each of the parties can nominate a certain number of people to serve as poll watchers, both for early voting and for election day voting. And so check with your party if you're interested in doing that. They may be able to sign you up for that. Poll monitors are much more informal. Anyone can come in and watch, but we have to have areas kind of set aside away from the voting itself so that the voters' privacy is maintained.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any more questions, Mr. Dillon?
That was most of the questions we wanted.
So people will be, kind of be educated or educated on the upcoming election, what to expect.
Now, one of the things that came up in the past election was dropping off ballots, particularly, I guess, during early voting. And are there particular areas that people will have to drop off their ballots?
We will have a drop box. Because of the Georgia law, it has to be on our property. And so right now for this election, it's probably just going to be in the lobby of our office itself. As we find other options, we will certainly explore those, but we have to operate within the law, which right now is a bit limited. So right now, if they want to bring it in person, they would bring it into our office.
Okay. Maria said something is responding to other organizations has to request this from the Board of Election. There's a form that has to be completed if you want to be a poll monitor or poll watcher.
Right. If you're just going to be a poll monitor, if you show up and space permitting, we'll have you sign in, but we don't really need to know that you're coming ahead of time. The poll watchers are more regimented. The parties have a certain number for each location, and we can manage that.
Okay.
We are always, on a different note, we're always taking applications for poll workers. If you want to work at a polling place, we would encourage you to come in and fill out an application. We are always taking applications. So we're always in need of poll workers. We have a certain number that we want to get, and we can work with fewer, but we'd like to have a full roster. So I joke that the hours are long, but at least the pay is low. But you get paid for your time. It may not be enough, but we pay you what we can.
Yes. Well, I don't have any more questions. I see Patrick Davis put some more information on here in reference to the Board of Elections. But we thank you. Do you have any questions for us? Any request or anything?
I would just ask all of the listeners to make sure you're registered. You can't vote if you haven't registered. The registration deadline for the March election is February the 12th. So if you're not registered, please do. If you are registered, please come in and vote, whether it's in person on election day or early voting or absentee.
I'm glad you said that, because I got a phone call this weekend from someone that was incarcerated, and they were inquiring about the election and who was running, and they wanted to register to vote. Didn't know what the deadline was, but people need to understand, even though you're incarcerated, and if you've never been convicted of a felony, you still can vote, even though you've been charged with it. You haven't been convicted of it. You're still able to register to vote and vote.
That's correct. And for someone who has been convicted, once they have served their term, they're done with probation or parole or anything like that, come back and you can re-register. You don't have to wait any certain amount of time. Once you've gotten your letter from your parole officer so that you're free and clear, please come back and register again. We want to get you back into the voter registration system.
We encourage everyone to register to vote.
And one other question, as it relates to provisional ballots, that's been a concern as to when a person can do a provisional ballot. Could you kind of explain that?
Of course. Provisional voting is to cover the people who, for example, didn't bring their photo ID with them when they showed up at the polling place, or showed up at the wrong polling place, or for whatever reason they don't show up on the voter registration list, but they are certain that they were registered in a timely manner. It's sort of a catch-all just to make sure we give you every opportunity to vote that you can. The most recent change that took place in 2022, if you're voting provisional because you're at the polling place where you're not registered, you can only do that after 5:00 p.m.
Okay, yeah.
You show up at 9:00. Sorry about the phone ringing there. If you show up 9:00 in the morning, they will tell you where your polling place should be, and you would need to go there. But if it's after 5:00, the presumption is you may not have time to get there by 7:00, with whether it's traffic or crowds or whatever, and then you can vote provisional that way.
I'm glad that we clarified that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That was a big thing.
But if it's for any other reason, like the ID, or if when you registered you didn't provide proof of citizenship or something like that, you can vote provisional for those reasons at any point of the day.
Okay, all right.
All
Well,
right. Well,
I think that's it. We thank you
we
so
certainly
much for
thank you.
coming on and giving us some leeway and some information to the voters so they'll know what what they need to do.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Well, that was some very good information.
Yeah, it was because a lot of people still are confused.
Exactly. And at least they know too, they have a short window for those who haven't registered. You've got a very short window,
Yeah,
February 12th.
yeah, because someone inquired called from jail and wanted to vote, so I got to make sure that they get a voter registration form so they can register to vote.
Absolutely. Because time keeps ticking away and we're getting closer and closer. And there's a lot of races going to be taking place, particularly here locally. We've
Hmm.
got the sheriff's race.
Right. We
Um,
have about 4 people, 5 people running,
running
including the sheriff.
right. So it's going to be an interesting time, and so you don't want to miss out on your participation in that process. And so the way to do that, of course, is to make sure you're registered, and once you're registered, make sure you're voting,
Right.
because we had some interesting statistics in the last election where you had a number of people who were registered, but they didn't vote.
Right.
and
Right.
and
And
so
and voting is so very important. People have actually died. Um,
giving their
yeah,
life the ultimate
in,
sacrifice.
right. In order for us to be able to vote, and living in a country of democracy where we have a choice, we have choices, and so this is why last week that I'm in District 9, Mr. Dumas, and so my commissioner actually resigned.
Out of that district.
Yes, Commissioner Al Tillman resigned um, on the 14th, I think. No, a couple days before then. He resigned. And so it put us in a position where, the mayor appointed someone to represent us.
Wow.
And so I was furious about that because, uh, you
It
know,
should have been a special election, you would think.
well, it should have been, and that's the thing that's puzzling. Um, some people, I think there was an ethic complaint filed against a young man that was actually running, but he decided to withdraw because of the information that he found, and he didn't want to make it seem like he was just uh, how people have a dirty campaign.
Right.
And so, but the concern is that you according to the media that our Commissioner Tillman had moved out of his district, and so he was not actually representing the people in District 9 because um, he was no longer living in that district. He registered his business or something uh, with an address back in December. But um, the concern that I'm having is with that is that I didn't have a choice to vote or choose who I wanted to.
Right.
And so what happens is if he had resigned back in December, then it would have been a special election. But he waited, and then the mayor appointed someone. And my concern with that is that I just feel like my right to vote has been deprived. I've been deprived of having a choice,
Right.
and so that's a very big concern with me. And so when you look at the fact that um, you announce that you're gonna um, possibly not be running, then you make that come true. You know I just think it's more people involved. I don't think that he's
Just
uh,
solely.
just solely by himself. Um, I think it's going to be very interesting to see where this go. Hopefully, um, the Department of Justice it gets involved. It
And
doesn't need to just
and
it doesn't need to just stay here and making it needs to be nationwide. People need to know that that our rights have been violated like this.
and also, when it comes to an appointee, um, how do you go about that selection process of an appointee as to who would be more qualified to step into that role?
Well, from what I can understand and what I was told, that nobody else was interested in it because that she had ran before, and just about just stated that night, when they ran, they lost, and people chose who they wanted to choose. I'm just concerned that whether or not this person, because of the way that she went into office, whether or not she would be uh, for the people, uh, would she be able to represent us properly
Right,
because of her being appointed.
right,
We all kind of know what normally would appoint you to something. A lot of times you have to be loyal to that person,
right.
and so that's my concern whether or not she would really actually represent us.
And that should be our community's concern as well. A lot of times we as an organization, we try to look out for the good of the community, but the community has to have enough concern as well to take a lot of the information that we share with them and voice their opinions,
Yeah,
in certainly in public forums or council meetings, commissioner meetings rather, and those kinds of things to voice that
right,
concern, because it's that, our motto in the NAACP is the squeaking wheel that gets the oil.
right,
And if you're not making any noise, then chances are you kind of going along with things being okay. And
right,
so
right, right.
we certainly don't want to send that kind of message.
Yeah, and I think it is under investigation to my understanding, but we as citizens and we as registered voters have to do something. It was not right.
Right,
I just think the concern that I had whether or not he knew that he was going to be stepping down um, in before December. I mean before January.
right.
So it is. I think that it's much bigger than Mr. Tim, and I think there's more people involved than just him.
And I understand he made an announcement this past week on a new position. Well, I guess what his plans are once he stepped down as commissioner. Um, he kind of met with individuals at the old mall.
Well, I didn't show up, and I just feel like you should have met with us before you made a statement that you're gonna resign.
Right,
You talk with your constituency, the people that voted for you, that put you in the office. You talk to them first before you resign. It's after the fact. You've already said you're gonna resign, and then you know I didn't see any point of that's what I would have did. I would have met with my people before I resigned to talk it over with them and had some input. But um, it is what it is. But like I
right,
said, that don't mean that we have to accept it.
right. Have that choice.
Right.
Now, in the upcoming, we're getting close to Black History Month next month.
Yeah.
That's a short month, but a lot to cover as it relates to accomplishments of African Americans. And so, do hope I haven't seen an activity report as far as different things that will be transpiring here locally as it
Right.
relates to Black history, but I know we are always doing something as an organization
Right.
in,
Right.
in regards to representing that. And February is right around right around the corner.
It is. It is.
We're right at it, And so hopefully there will be a series of events around the city that people can participate in. Um, I think Maria had play something here. I was going to mention about trying to see what that question she had earlier. Oh, she was saying that all the offices are up for election this year. So not only just uh, not just the commissioner seats, or the sheriff seats, but
Right,
all the
right.
offices
Yeah,
are up for
yeah.
an election. So
So
it's a crucial election.
it is, and so you need to research your candidates. The NAACP is not a political organization. We're here to protect the rights of those who um, are able to vote. But we encourage you to research your candidates and find out what they've done, the work that they've done in your community. That's a big thing that people need to take advantage of to research your candidates if you're someone you're interested in voting for.
Absolutely. Now it was an article. We've had some pretty cold nights
Hmm.
here in Central Georgia. There was an article in another city. It
Ooh.
wasn't here locally, but I thought about some of the churches here locally.
Hmm.
You know, um, this particular article dealt with a pastor who opened his church,
Yeah, I saw. Is that I don't know if it's the
right?
same pastor, but I saw that.
And he opened his church up for the homeless because of the low temperatures.
Hmm.
And the planning and zoning in this particular state, and it wasn't here in Georgia, actually penalized him for some things that he was supposed to do in order to, I guess, ensure safety and that kind of thing.
Right.
But when it's a short notice like that, you would think they would be more forgiving
Yeah.
of a
Look like
situation,
they would.
right? But they held him to the law. So I thought that was pretty harsh, particularly when somebody's trying to do good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, and that's what we were. I think a lot of times when we went to behind Walmart, gave out blankets. The lady came out. She said, "I am so glad that you all are doing this. For them." And people need to understand. Sometimes people, they'll be asking for money and they, just go off and, um, just have a field day.
right,
And there's a lot of people that have income. They're disabled, doing Social Security, or they're working, but they just cannot afford the cost of living. The cost of housing is crazy. The amount that they're charging tenants to move into these apartments.
and
So,
then sometimes it's just the process. It's just like when you buy a home. That's
mhm,
that's one of the most difficult and major decisions an individual will make
yeah,
in his lifetime, as far as buying a home. And so when you have a,
right,
a homeless person who's out on the streets and going through certain steps, a lot of times they don't have the patience to kind of go through some of the processes that are required of them. They get discouraged
right,
from doing that. And so we know that the cost of housing has gone up astronomical in the
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
And so
It
it's just affordability is just an issue.
it is, and you're talking about a one bedroom apartment costing $700. And like I say, a lot of these people have income; they just can't afford housing.
Right.
And so I just don't know what we're gonna do, um, what's gonna happen. Um, uh, like I said, we're just a paycheck away from being homeless. You really don't, um, you just can't judge people because you don't know why they're
In
in
the
that
situation.
situation. Right.
And also, even as it relates to the warming center and some of the other places that take in the homeless, particularly when
Right.
it's really cold, some of their policies, it seems, that need kind of tweaking,
Yeah.
because an individual may stay that night, but then they have to be out early that morning, and that's the
Right.
coldest. That's usually the coldest part of
Right.
the day.
It's not making sense. I know the Salvation Army do that. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I just really feel that something should have been put in place because we knew that this was going to happen. Price price of housing is ridiculous.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's going to get, any better, really.
And then, but there's nothing, back, talking about Green Meadows, if it's ridiculous because the not the property manager, she's been terminated, but they got another property manager, but this person is the field director or whatever she called herself. But we've been on this show before talking about Green Meadows, and it's just the I just think that we gonna have to. I think that the inspector general needs to get involved because she's actually evicted folks based on what somebody said, and
Wow.
in people houses, they're giving them like so many days to move. If they don't move, then they change the locks on their door, and they can't get in and get their stuff. So you can't just change the locks on people's uh, property.
Right. And there's so many different violations, it seems, that, people are dealing with as relates to that. Um, it's just, it's a travesty, really, that people don't have more concern for human life as far
Yeah,
as
it's
that goes.
crazy, and it's just crazy that you have. I just wish we could. One thing about it, sometimes people don't want to stay in a place if they got to leave out in the morning. Those are some of the reasons that I see why people are, the type of homelessness that I see they don't want to go into in the hotel room for the room to be paid. Um, like I said, people that are not at the rescue mission or they're not at the rescue mission for a reason. Some people just don't. They like to be by themselves. They don't like to be where somebody is, watching them
Watching
24
over them.
7. So um, I see that a lot too.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable. I think in a couple more weeks we're gonna have Sister Teresa on the show to talk about
Right. The
Daybreak's sleep
sleepover.
out, the great sleep out,
Yeah.
because that gives people an opportunity to see what homeless people actually go through, particularly being out in the elements.
Yeah.
And you know, I know when I'm in my house and the temperature is a certain temp, just to go to the restroom, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then being out in the elements, early in the morning like that, that's
Yeah.
just
And you wouldn't think that they would send people like that. But like I say, we got to get some affordable housing. During COVID, I thought for sure that the governor was going to put something in place for so these landlords couldn't just raise the rent ridiculously. And that's what basically happened. He didn't put anything in place, so people are just charging what they want to charge,
so it's like
and
people,
people are paying it because they got to have somewhere to stay.
right? And it's almost like they overlook their lease, particularly if they're not month to month, and just charge whatever.
Right. And I do know Hidden Lake has kind of resolved their issue. They have they have they were paying different amounts the light bill, no, their water bill. So now when we NWCP like walked the property, talked to different people, gave a card out, and so she gave. Uh, Now when I went on the property, actually gave out my cards and said if you have any issues, please contact me. Contact the NAACP. So now since December, the tenants in Green Meadows they have a flat amount, so it may be $35 that they have to pay. So they have done that. That was one of the issues. That they weren't able to pay the amount that they were charging for the water bill. You talk about a water bill of $200 or $300. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And so they did go to a flat rate effective December 1st. After I did the follow up, so that was a good thing.
Well, that shows that when you address an issue and you stay on top of it, change can come about.
Right.
Because a lot of people, they just feel they don't have any hope, and whatever's dished out,
Right. They don't have
that's
a recourse.
right.
Right.
that's
Right.
pretty much what they have to, put up with.
Now, what I've been seeing with uh, um, I'm looking at here. Janet Goff, Dr. King, youngest son Dexter died a few hours ago.
Wow.
Let's pray for the family during the time of bereavement. Uh, mm, Thank you, Miss Goff.
Wow.
Um, just keep the family in prayer. We want to also keep everyone that's sick and shut in. We want to keep you all lifted up in prayer. Maria Bryant, Wilman Hayes, some of our members that I know they're in the hospital. Um, we want to send up a special prayer for them, and we want to also um, lift up prayer for anyone else that's going through anything at this time. The young man that was killed on Houston Avenue um, on MLK Day, we want to give their family a shout out. Uh, we're praying for you all also. But it's crazy how people are just, I don't know.
Still taking other people's lives,
Yeah.
you know.
And,
Um,
and then they won't turn themselves in after they do whatever they're gonna do. They don't turn themselves in. They just build a run. It's not making sense to me. But we're gonna get on this sheriff girl. We can do some things about this empty building for people. Right. You're sure right, Miss Greer. You're definitely right. I was got a phone call from Green Meadows, from one of Tips at Green Meadows that they um were trying to change the lock on her door. So she was arguing because she had not received anything saying to move by a certain date, or I was gonna do a or my throat is can't hardly talk. Um, Actually padlock their door. So they were there to padlock her door, and she hadn't even received a letter from them. But even if she did, you just you know padlock someone's door and they can't get their belongings out of there, which is ridiculous.
wow.
So hopefully she gonna be able to get it straight. We're trying to get the some information sent out so somebody could come in with this property manager. I guess she's a regional director, going by something that somebody said, and that's what she's going by.
And you're playing with people's lives. People have, if you evict somebody on something that's not really valid, a lot of times it's not just one person. They
Hmm.
have a family, so that's children
Hmm.
relocating for schools and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So it can be a major major issue.
Um, it says this year Green Meadows need new management. Yeah, and they do. They really do. They have. I thought the person that they brought down was going to be, but you know, if she's giving those type of instructions to change the lock on someone's door while they're still here, see that the National Housing Compliance sent me an email and talked about the process of eviction. The only legal eviction is to go through the courts. That's what she told me. So anything else that they're doing, if they're not going through the courts to do it, you can't evict someone to put their change the lock on their door and then people they're not being held responsible or accountable for those people belonging.
Right. That's the other thing. I've always had issues as it relates to evictions where you see people's belongings out in the street and
Yeah.
may rain the next day, and they're just
Yeah, but they putting notes on these folks' doors saying move, and if they don't move by a certain date, then what you're doing is changing the law. You can't do that. You got to find that's not legal.
right.
So that has to be dealt with. That has to be dealt with.
Yeah, it's a lot of issues in housing, particularly now in this area that we're
Hmm.
having to deal with. And for our listeners out there, if you've had some issues and you want to give us a call here at the station to talk about it, you can call in at 478 250-1444. Once again, if you've had some type of issues with being evicted or housing issues, give us a call. We'd like to hear from you. That number again is 478-250-1444. Love to hear from you.
Let me just say this to our, and I know this, a lot of young folks probably not listening to me, but if you are, we're asking for y'all to please think before you act. You know,
Absolutely.
we this killing in the end, you know, you've actually destroyed two people's lives. We have to stop this violence throughout the middle Georgia area, actually anywhere, but especially the city in which I reside in. We just have to, you know, I don't understand it. It's just crazy that people are just not thinking before they act, and they either don't think nothing is going to happen to them, or they don't care. It's just not making sense. But we just want people to just do the right thing. Yeah,
Absolutely.
like this little guy killed this guy. He's on the run now, but they're gonna eventually catch you. But you gotta. It's crazy. So
Yeah, it seems like the value of life keeps decreasing. Um, People don't take it, you know, for face value. And we've noticed too an uptick in suicide,
right, right.
even here in Middle Georgia. I've been really appalled at,
Especially with our young folks.
right. They're just I don't know. They don't value. They just not. They don't value their lives. They don't value other people's lives, and so um, we're
Mm.
we're just asking that people pay more attention to each other. If people are in a saddened state all the time and seem like they're depressed, you may want to try to seek them some help
Yeah, and that's what they.
and
You
listen
know,
to them.
you've been listening. I've been seeing it on TV where they was talking about our young. You know, it's just how so many young people are suicidal,
Right,
and they're depressed, and a lot of times um is there. You just don't see it. You know, I was thinking about, you know, on the way here, was thinking about the young man that committed suicide at the Akron Health. Um,
right, and where he
yeah,
barricaded himself in the
we
bathroom.
don't know what actually happened before he did that.
Right,
We don't know if nothing happened right then or something had happened before. Um, it's just crazy, and so you know, people have suffered from depression, and um, you know, they just need to be able to get the proper care, because that's the key. A lot of times people are in denial that they do have a problem, and they don't get a treatment and don't get the help that they need. It's so many undiagnosed people are undiagnosed that have mental health issues.
right, and I think now more attention has probably come to it, but we've seen time and time again certain situations where law enforcement's been called and not seeking, not calling for a mental health
Right, right,
person, and it turns out tragic in many cases, because the officers are not trained,
right.
in dealing with mental health,
Hmm.
because of course most of the time the person will be irate, they won't be reasonable, and most of the time won't be cooperative,
And you don't
in
know
those
what people
cases.
going through. You don't know what people go through. I'm gonna tell you, Mr. Doom. Last night I went. You know, I had been gone all day yesterday, and I was out of town. I came home. No, was that? No, that. Yeah, that was yesterday. And so I was like, um, I'm just gonna go pick us something up to eat from SNS. So I got in line, and when I got in line, you know, people, you know, it was like 6 o'clock, so they closed at 7, and I've seen it before. I've been there late like that, and they start running out of stuff. And so one lady had, you know, ordered something, and they didn't ever didn't have it, so she left. So I got out of line just to peep and see what they had, so I could call my husband and let him know they got this left, they got this. And so I went back to kind of get back in line, so that there was a person there that just was not budging to let me, So this lady, she say, I just stood there, and this lady, she said, "Wouldn't you in, or were you in front of me?" No, uh, uh, and he just went off. He was like, "She wasn't in line. When I came in here, she wasn't in line." And so I said, "Sir, I just walked out of line for a minute just to see what they had at. You still wasn't in line. You weren't in line when I got here." He had like I had just broke, like we
Wow.
children, like and so he just carried on. I said, "Something wrong with you. You just don't know what people's state of mind is." I was
Right.
like, "Something wrong." And he started cursing, and I ended up having to call my husband to come up there just to, because I was like, I don't know. He carried on about this, Uh, I said, "Sir, we're all adults. I could just get back in the back of the line." Because he just carried on about the parking, about
The spot in
about the
line.
spot in line. And
Wow.
so I told my husband, I said, I don't want you to say anything. I just need for you to come. So when I come out the place, I said, because I don't know if this man gonna try to say anything to me or not.
Right.
And so um, he did that because I don't know. He was, but you don't know. I don't know what he. I just didn't say nothing else to him. I just ignored him, and because you don't know what state of mind people are in.
You
But
really
he
don't.
act like he wanted to fight. Oh, I know
Wow.
that.
Wow.
And he started cursing, and so um um
Yeah, mental health is real.
and so I don't know what was. Like my husband said, uh, he was probably upset about something before he got there.
Right.
And so, but I'm like, people's state of mind just
But people lose their lives every day over very simple type situations. And, I think COVID, and I've said this several times, I believe COVID has put a lot of people in a very depressed and anxiety state. And a lot of them don't even know. And a lot of them are probably dealing with PTSD from just being in the house too long and those kinds of things. And we don't
right,
know the full effects of what
right.
COVID has caused on our children as well as individuals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're probably still
Figuring that out.
figuring it out, and we're experiencing different things, out in the workplace, outside of the workplace,
Yeah,
in the community. And so it's just a lot to contend with.
yeah. We're asking for your membership. Membership is, our time is almost up. Our membership is $30 per year. Annually, we ask for you to join the work, the force uh, of the NAACP. We need everybody
On
um,
board.
on board. This is a great organization to be in.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on next week. Have a great evening.
You have been listening to the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett Westbrook and Mr. Dumas. Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 988.